Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawks here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Thanks, Ches. That's what Hammers 11. Hope you're safe and well. If you're channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made of any time I'm putting new content on. As always, last thank our lovely channel sponsors, Untuck It. Check out the description below. Just Ches. Good old Ches. Said it to me. He said it to me yesterday, so I thought I'd better put it in. Today's guest, he's doing loads on Twitter at the moment. We'll talk about that in a bit, why he's doing that, because he's trying to raise money for his dad. It's Jake. How are you, Jake?
I'm all good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm not too ruddy bad, to be honest. It's a lovely day today. Spring seems like it's just turned up today, which is lovely. And, you know, the sun doesn't set until 7:30 now in Hornchurch. It's lovely.
Perfect.
It's
and
lovely.
Football's back. Grassroots football's back.
I know, it's
perfect.
crazy. I'm seeing my sort of my Twitter feed, my Facebook feed is full of my mates all playing 7-a-side and 5-a-side. I don't think they all played it beforehand. I don't remember them all playing beforehand, but they're all playing this week today, it seems. All playing golf.
Done.
Yeah, all golf. So yeah. Instagram is full of bloody football ex-pros seems to be hitting the fairways today, so fair play to them. But yes, it feels like things are starting to tick a little bit, starting to go in the right direction. How are you though? How have you been, my man?
I'm all good, thank you. Today was a bit of a rough day because I had my second COVID vaccine the other day, and this one hit me a little bit like a train. So I've been up and down today, but not too bad. It's been very busy with work and stuff, and I've just been trucking on. But loving life. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, me too at the moment. Actually, yeah, it's I'm on a good keel at the moment. I think it's fair to say. Yeah, I don't know where my second one is actually. They haven't contacted me for the second one yet. My wife hasn't had her first one yet, so I am on a few weeks. Yeah, did you have the Oxford or the Pfizer one? What one did you have?
I had the Pfizer one.
Yeah,
I had it. My first one back in January. Because I used to be a care worker. Since then, another job's popped up, and now I feel like a bit of a fraud in the queue to get the vaccine. But there we go; it's done now.
Needs must. It needs must. Not being funny, exactly. The amount of shit you must have gone through before, mate. It's well worth it. It's well worth it. I'm just fat. That's the reason why I got
I don't think I'd have been far away from getting one anyway.
Yeah, but at least it doesn't matter what's gone on in the last year or so. West Ham has kept us entertained, hasn't they? They've kept us smiling, which is nice for a change. I can't remember that for a long time that's happened.
Normally around about now, I'm getting stressed and upset, but I can sort of sit back and relax at the moment. It's a nice change. However long it lasts, I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things as well. I was doing the calculations today, but it's not like I was doing the calculations that, you know, are we going to stay up? It's like where we'll finish, you know, whether we finish 5th or 8th. It's like, well, I don't really care, to be honest. I really don't care, to be fair.
I've done a couple of predictions, and I always seem to have us finishing second, and I feel like maybe I'm being a bit too nice to us.
Yeah, I try and go the other way, and it just still comes out that we end up 4th. And I was like, how does that work out? I've been really arsey with West Ham, but yeah, it's a funny season, isn't it? It's just been weird. It's been weird. You know, the fans don't know what to do with themselves. They're happy. They're upset because, you know, we didn't win against Man United, and it's like, what? You know, like if you look back and think of things, it's like, Jesus, if you said to us that we'd have, you know, in August that we'd have been lucky that we got, you know, we're unlucky to not have beaten or got a point out of United at Old Trafford, or, you know, we got a point at Arsenal, we could have easily turned them over, you know, at our gaff. It's like, you know, it's all perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just been such a weird season, But also, you've been busy for other reasons. You obviously work and obviously, you know, keep it on top of everything to do with West Ham. But also, you that's why I always get you on, Jake, because you're doing this big sort of charity drive for your dad to try and raise money for a hand, isn't it? A hero hand.
Yes, yeah. So my dad, before I was born 98. I know I look a lot older.
Jesus, the years have been kind to you.
It's not good. But yeah, 97. Dad had an accident at work which resulted in him losing a hand, which you can imagine isn't ideal when you're used to having two to suddenly not have one. To only have one.
Yeah.
So since then, obviously, he's had me, my younger brother, and he has been brilliant. He's always gotten along. To be honest, you wouldn't, if you saw him from a distance cracking on with whatever he's doing, you wouldn't assume there was anything that could be holding him back. He's
Sure.
always just got on with it and been fantastic. And for quite some time, he's been following Open Bionics, which is this company charity that make what's called hero arms, which is basically, it's run by sensors that attach to your muscles, and
Wow.
it's almost sort of like I move my hand like that.
Yeah.
Dad will move his what we call stump, and it will move fingers.
Wow.
It's mental, and I'm shortly going to be moving out with my other half. We've got a house we're currently renovating at the moment, and I thought, well, before I go, let's try and do something sort of really big to sort of
Yeah.
thank him for everything that he's done so far. And this is what I landed on. So we've sort of set a target of £11,000, which is a little bit over what the arm costs.
Yeah.
But that covers anything, because we're doing a lot of sort of raffles and stuff like that to sort of get the money in. So any sort of postage and that will be covered by the little bits of extras.
Gotcha. Yeah.
If we absolutely smash the goal and go further, then I want to give everything to Open Bionics so that they can continue to support children who lose limbs or are born without limbs to get hands. The work they do is fantastic, and that's pretty much my goal at the moment. So it's been going well. As of today, I think when I last checked, it was £2,295 raised.
Wow. Fantastic.
When you think that 4 days ago I had 300 in the pot,
Yeah.
it's been fantastic, and the support from everyone, from sort of West Ham fans on Twitter to friends and family on Facebook, all getting involved, has been very emotional. I'll be honest. There's been a couple of
Yeah.
times where I find myself looking at it and getting a bit choked up.
Yeah.
But it's been fantastic. Like I say, the support so far has been brilliant. So if you happen to be watching this and you've already got involved, thank you so much, because it's insane.
Yeah.
I put a little video up today on Twitter, on TikTok, of the first time we went to Open Bionics last week, which was the first time they sort of strapped Dad into a trial hand to figure out
Wow.
where the muscles were. And for the first time since he lost his hand, he was able to move fingers.
Wow.
And you don't realise
No, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Lost
what it
it. Yeah.
is. And then you sort of seeing that was it was emotional, a very emotional day.
But in the same way, seeing something like that just helps drive what you're trying to do even further for yourself, isn't it? So
exactly,
you can see that the effect it had on him just for those few minutes. So, and you get that. I mean, obviously now you obviously do this thing. West Ham fans always help out West Ham fans, and
they've been brilliant.
and so so that's what I thought. I want to get you on just to sort of say, look, let's see what we can do and see what we can, as you said, I know people. I've seen it. I will be donating as well, but obviously I've seen people who have donated in the Just Giving. Obviously, a lot of our viewers are already in there, Andy and people like that. I'm not just name checking them all, but there's clearly some people I already know who are on there quite a bit. But it's true, and they always help out. When it comes to West Ham people, whether it's yourselves, whether it's Isla, whether it's the food banks or whatever, they always come out in full force. So that'd be a lovely thing for your dad, wouldn't it? Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you can't quite put into words how sort of
No.
huge it will be, but yeah, it's exciting. It's really,
it's fantastic.
Really
yeah, it's fantastic. And as I said, not more importantly, but one of the main reasons we've got you on is because you're a Hammer as well. So it's not just for your dad, but it's to what you and about West Ham as well, because obviously it's a big part of your life. We'll leave that scrolling on the bottom. So why West Ham, Jake? Why is West Ham your club?
So growing up, believe it or not, looking at me, never into sport apart from cricket, which I played, and then I got fat and went, nah, not for me. I was never into sport at all. But if anybody ever said, "Oh, do you support a football team?" I'd say West Ham, because they were my Gramps' team, my mum's dad. He passed away in 2007, and nobody else really in the family's that into football. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to firm that. West Ham's my team now. And I'm going to say, if anyone asks, it's West Ham, and it's because of me Gramps.
Nice.
And I continue to not really be that interested. up until sort of the World Cup, really, the most recent World Cup, which was the best summer that I've ever seen. I doubt there'll be a summer like that ever again. And I was like, oh my God, I realised I had no hobbies outside of sort of cooking. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, why haven't I been watching and playing football all my life? This is mental. And all of my mates are all Liverpool fans. And I was like, I had a choice on my hands, and I was like, oh, do I go with them? And I thought about it for all of about 30 seconds, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
no, it's West Ham for me. And it's just, I don't know, I think I made an unconscious decision a long time ago, and I just fell in love with the club. And since going up, I mean, my first ever West Ham game that I actually got to was a couple of seasons back, the Newcastle home game, Declan Rice's first goal.
Oh yeah.
And I remember sort of going up with some people that I'd met at a under-21s game at Yeovil, which is my sort of nearest club.
Brilliant.
And they were like, oh, you're a West Ham fan? They were like, well, we got tickets every now and again, so we'll give you a ring when the next one's free. You come up with us. But yeah, brilliant.
Brilliant.
And sort of being in the ground for the first time, and everyone starts singing Bubbles, and I was there like, oh dear.
Yeah.
getting a bit choky, like, oh dear. And then Declan Rice scored his goal, and to be honest, I don't really remember it because I just went mental. It was a fantastic day, and ever since then, I just everything I do. I think maybe there's like 1 or 2 days a week where I'm not in a West Ham shirt. It's the other half hates it, but I've just got too many, and I love wearing them.
Yeah. I love the fact I love that because a lot of people we have on the channel are like, oh yeah, I've been die-hard 30-year man and boy, but I love the fact that you came into it relatively late, and it's just taken over your life very quickly.
I mean, I've gone from not really ever watching football to within 2 years, I manage a local side. I'm on the committee for the club. I think I do all their press and PR and everything like that. And it is genuinely football
brilliant.
just took over my life. Again, the other half, not too pleased about it. She often goes, oh, you never liked football when we got together.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but unlucky.
unlucky.
Yes.
Times they are changing, love. Yeah. It's like my wife, which is like, because I've been only doing this YouTube stuff for about a year now, 8 or 10 months, something like that. And it's completely changed, like how I interact with anyone, really. And I just toddle off at night. She watches, I don't know, Big Love or whatever she's watching at the moment. I don't know, some crap. And never the twain shall meet. And it's like, things change. But I think what I love is it just like you just have this sort of this almost like boyhood enthusiasm for the, it hasn't been beaten out of you yet.
Not yet.
And we're having such a good season, so it's fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So you sort of maintain that, and it's true. I mean, it's going to be emotional, I think, when we get everyone back in the ground singing Bubbles, because it's going to be really emotional, I think, when everyone's back together. When you get to see, I mean, I got choked up with the 2,500 were there, because it was just weird, just bizarre hearing a crowd.
I'll choke up at anything. If there's something that's even slightly sad or a little bit too happy, gone. So I think it was City for the opening game of the other season where they did, what was it, 5-0 they beat us?
Yeah.
Went up for that, and everyone started singing Bubbles, and it had been so long in the break. I was like, oh no, it's happening again. I was like, I had guys, 2 boys next to me, and they're all giving it their all, and I'm there going, right, can't cry in front of them. But yeah, no, I mean, whenever I get back, because obviously down Yeovil way, I'm quite far away from London, so I don't really know when my next game will be. But when I do, I can imagine there'll be a couple of tears.
Yeah. But I think also I think because it's so far away, it's not so readily available. I think you appreciate it even more. I'm not saying not. This is obviously a pre-COVID thing. Obviously, post-COVID, I think everyone's going to appreciate going to football now.
Yeah.
But beforehand, so it would be even more so for you. And I love the fact that you met some blokes on the 21 game, and you're part of their gang now.
Yeah.
And the only thing that connects you is those crossed irons on your shirt.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about doing all this, because you interview people all over the world, and whether they're from Yeovil or they're from Chicago or Hong Kong or wherever, it doesn't matter, and obviously I do a lot of charity, a lot of fundraising for the Newham food banks, or the Ironspoint food banks, and we get donations from people from Singapore, from Sweden. These guys are probably never going to Newham ever in their life, but because it's West Ham, they support it, and you'll get
It's
that
brilliant.
more, and
Yeah.
you'll notice that when you get some random donations from America and stuff like that, because you're West Ham, so therefore you're one of keep each other, look after their own and stuff. So it's a special club. I'm getting emotional now. It's a special club.
Yeah.
It is a
And
special
you
club.
start, because then I'll start,
I
and we'll have
know.
half an hour of us both just crying.
I know. There's only one episode. There's one episode I cried at. I'll be honest doing this, and that was a guy called Peter Singh. And if you want a good cry, watch that episode because
That's what I'll do
it's
later.
yeah. If you need to well up, watch that because it's just a sheet. Because I know obviously we know. I mean, West Ham is important to me, and but for some people it is their life. And it's saved them, it's made it's saved them from mental illness and depression, and Peter was one of those people. So it just shows you how much a football club can mean to someone. It does. Yeah, I remember finishing that interview, and I thought, I sat there like, fucking hell. I didn't think that was ever going to happen, because I thought, hey, but we're standing, but for some people it means so much more.
I mean,
and you're.
I completely get sort of that angle of it. Obviously, sort of not being into football, not being into sports. I wasn't the fittest of children running around, and I think really at the time when sort of I started watching football and everything, I wasn't in the best of places. And all of a sudden, I mean, if you go right back through one of my Twitters, you'll find there's a side by side of when I first went to the London Stadium and did a stadium tour on my behalf, and it looks like my shirt barely fits me.
Yeah.
Compared to, I think it was like 6 months later where I'd been playing football. I've been going out almost every day to the local park and just having a kick about with mates. And the shirt,
Hangs
I mean, I
off.
looked a completely different person. And it's insane that it's a sport, but it really does sort of it can pick you up when you're down and sort of help you out. And that was when we were fighting relegation battles. So imagine what I'm like now.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, that's one thing. That's one saving grace. Of everything that's gone on in the world at the moment, and obviously lockdown and wherever sort of thing we're in now. I don't really understand this sort of flux we're in at the moment. That's the one constant. The one constant is football, and you can see people were really, really desperate when we had no football because it's one of those constants they haven't had. And for a lot of people, they've been going to West Ham home and away for 20, 30, 40 years. And for the last year, they haven't been able to go to West Ham and they've had to readjust. And, luckily we've performed well and people haven't minded so much. And, people obviously clucking to go back, and it's only going to be a good thing when the next season, hopefully, if the roadmap's all right and sorted, next season, next August or whatever, we should have a full capacity, London Stadium again, which would be absolutely awesome, man. But no, it's all good. No, and it's one of those things. I mean, you're on Twitter, and you see a lot of Twitter. There's a real buzz around the club at the moment, around the fan base. So much so that we lose a game like we lost to City the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and completely different fan base. They were like, "Oh, unlucky guys, unlucky, nearly." Usually be like, boys, boys out, but they were like, "Oh, unlucky guys." It's a real change in mentality amongst the fan base, and long may it continue. I can feel, I mean, it's a relatively new in your West Ham fan career, but too often not, we have these sort of great seasons. There were 3 or 4 shits, or 5 seasons we've had shit seasons until this season from the bowling season, really. So, if next season we can finish 7th and 8th next season and 6th and whatever, then we're on the right path and where we should be. So that top 8, top 9 league, definitely. And who knows? In Moyes we trust. My friend. But yeah. Right, okay, well, this is going to be interesting because obviously everyone we get on, we do a Hammers 11. So, basically the idea is you put together the 11 of players. You can pick whatever players you want to. It doesn't have to be the best. It could be your fan favourites, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But the only rule is that you must have been alive to see them play. Or maybe for you must be alive since you started really supporting West Ham. It's up to you. I'm not fussed, man. It's your team. You pick whoever you want. You can pick everyone, buddy. So we'll see what happens. So who would be in goal?
In goal. So I've gone with mainly players I've seen, except just the one, which I had to put in because I think I'm in love with him, to be honest.
Okay.
but we'll get there.
Yeah.
So in goal, I've gone with Fabianski.
Yeah.
He's brilliant, isn't he? Like,
Yeah.
he's just great. And I met him after,
Brilliant.
was it another Newcastle game? No, sorry, my first game was the Arsenal game where Declan Rice scored his first goal.
Yeah.
My second game was the Newcastle game. Mark Noble penalty and Declan Rice scored with the old
Yeah.
shush of the Newcastle fans. Met Fabianski after that game. I was trying to get some stuff signed that we'd be able to auction off for Dad's arm even back then. And I remember going up to his window of his car and going, "Oh, hi, mate." I was like, "I've got a program. Could you sign it? I'm going to try and auction it off for my dad. He's missing an arm, trying to get him a new arm." He had no idea what I was saying.
No.
And he was just like, "Yeah," signed it and sort of carried on as he was. I was like, "Yeah, well, I tried."
I tried.
But yeah, Fabianski for me.
Yeah.
Excellent keeper.
He is, and obviously, we got him for another season, which would be good. I think that's the right thing to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we'll see what happens next summer. And obviously, England, Poland will be up against him.
Yeah, I don't really want to see it, but there we go.
No, it's like someone. It's like when a player goes to another club. It's like when, I don't know, we play Crystal Palace and James Tompkins is in the squad for Palace. It just looks wrong, and he's going to be wrong on the other side. But yeah. Hopefully Deck doesn't like in the box or whatever and just does him in or Lingard or whatever because he's quite important as we know from last season, wasn't it? God, it was last season with Roberto. Christ, time flies, doesn't it? Time is at the moment. It's just a weird vortex. It's like pre and post COVID. Everything in the middle is just like last year seems an absolute decade away, where we had like Roberto and David Martin and Pellegrini was manager at the beginning of that season. God, fucking hell. That's taking me right back there. And we've done a quarter of the year already.
Yeah.
Almost. Be Christmas soon for me now.
Well,
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Right, okay, Fabianski's in goal. Defence.
So I've gone with 4 at the back.
Nice.
I've popped. I've actually noticed that I haven't seen quite a lot of these people play. To be honest, so I've broken my own rules.
Well.
But there we go. They play now basically.
Yeah.
So I've gone with centre back partnership, and that's very important. I think of Dawson and Ogbonna.
Oh, nice.
Because I don't think Dawson has been as good without Ogbonna there.
No, but I think what I like with Dawson is he's got this sort of old school defender mentality that we love as West Ham. I'm thinking, back in the day, before obviously James Collins, and before then Alvin Martin, and God, like even like people like Razor Ruddock, people like they just like put their body in the line, don't give a shit about getting injured, but they're just great. And I think I just love him. I love players who surprise you. Do you know what I mean? Obviously when he signed, we all went, huh? Really?
Yeah.
And then
I've said it a couple of times when talking about David Moyes. I said I've never been so happy to be made to look so stupid.
Yeah.
Because when it was sort of announced it was Moyes coming back in, I was like, oh, this feels like a backward step, and we're not going to do well. Whereas now, I said if David Moyes gave me a ring up and was like, "Hello, Jake, I've seen you play football on Saturday, and I want you in West Ham," I'd go, "Well, clearly he's got a plan. I trust him. So, all right, I'll do it."
Offer something different in the final third, that's for sure.
I don't think the fans would enjoy my performances too much, but I'd have good fun for the 5 minutes I'm allowed out.
But I know what you mean. I know what you mean with Dawson. It just seems like it's the right, and you're right. Him and Ogbonna as a pair are just so much stronger. The thing is, it's not like Ogbonna not being out. Dawson still has the experience to run the defence. You can see that obviously the first couple of games. Obviously, I pop my head out of the box and I like listening to the players shout. And Dawson is a real voice, really shouts at people. And I think that's a fantastic attribute. And Ogbonna does it as well. But you're right. When Diop's in, there's always that little. He's always going to lose his mark a little bit. I don't know why he keeps doing it, but Ogbonna's quality. Honestly, the man's just absolute. I don't know, genius. His typical way he's found his form just as he's not coming to the end of his career, but he's 32. He's only got maybe a season, 2 seasons left, maybe. Whereas Dawson's, he's only 30. So, Yeah, he's got plenty of time on his hands, thank God. Because we need it at the moment.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right, let's put Fabianski, we've got Dawson and Bonner. Let's carry on in that defence then, my man.
Either side, I've gone with Cresswell and Sofal.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Though Cresswell and Masuaku, I find is sort of I prefer whichever one's playing because I sort of they'll play for a bit, then I'll have a little moan about them. The other one will come in, they'll play for a bit, and then I'll have a little moan, and it's that constant sort of cycle, I think.
Yeah.
So at the moment, Cresswell's doing fantastic. I mean, look at his assists in the league so far.
Amazing.
I think he's been incredible this season, so he gets in for me as it stands. Sofal, do I need to say anything?
Just must, isn't he?
What it was what was it? He signed. What was it like 2-3 days later? He's in the starting 11, and you wouldn't think he's just come in. He looked like he knew everyone. Everything was
Crazy.
perfect. Oh, insane! I think he's brilliant.
And again, another one we sort of felt slightly uneasy with because it was like only like 4 or 5 million, or whatever it was, and we're thinking, what are we going to get for £4 or £5 million? You know what I mean? You look at 10 at the bare minimum for a decent right back, a decent fullback, and he's just come in and just proved he's 4, 5, 6 times more than we paid for him. He's
Absolutely.
He's the right back. I mean, we haven't had a decent right back for years, like a proper right back. Maybe even back since like Tim Breaker in the early 90s was our last proper consistent right back. And he's just slotted in like there's no tomorrow. And you think, sometimes, I mean, even his compatriot, we might be talking about him in a minute, but even him, he just slotted in like there was no settling in period. Sometimes, particularly with foreign-based players, they take a few games to get match ready, but they were like straight on. As you see that Leicester game, straight in, clean sheet,
Brilliant.
complete shutout as well, wasn't it? That game as well. They didn't have a single shot on target that game. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Right, okay, so let's go with that. Let's go with that back four. Let's go into midfield, my friend. Let's go into midfield.
So I've gone with sort of a defensive sort of midfield, mainly because I had to put in who I'm going to say first. Otherwise, I'd have broken my own heart. And that is Mark Noble.
Yes.
Obviously, at the moment, he's doing a job, and it's to be argued. For me, Mark Noble is West Ham from coming in when I did, sort of saying that I was a West Ham fan, getting really excited when we got promoted a couple of years back, despite not having a clue what it meant. I've always known of Mark Noble.
Yeah.
He is West Ham for me. I met him again at that Newcastle game, and I think I struggled to get my words out a little bit. I was a bit like, holy shit, it's Mark Noble. So much to the point that when me and the other half move out, we're getting a hamster and we're going to call it Mark Noble because she won't let me call a dog Mark Noble, even though I thought that'd be really funny in the local park. Come here, Mark. Come on, Noble. Come on, mate. There we go. So Mark Noble for me, he has to get in. Fantastic.
And talking about emotional moments, that's going to be an emotional moment next season.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. I promise you, I think it's going to take at least an hour for me to get over that. I'll be a mess. But
I like the way Mark's prepared us for this. He hasn't just sort of sprung it all on us next season. It's like, okay, well, look, you've got a season and a bit to get used to the fact I'm done.
Yeah,
it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. But at least the fans will hopefully be in the stadium and he can appreciate every.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and when he's lifting the FA Cup next year, or the Europa
when
League,
he lifts
or whatever,
Champions League in his final game, I think it's going to be incredible.
The champion. What you got in the playlist, just in case? Right, okay, so that's Mark Noble in. You said, was it Declan Rice?
Declan Rice gets in, especially from sort of my years of actually watching West Ham. He is the most promising youngster that we've had. For me, he's just brilliant, isn't he, Declan Rice?
Yeah,
he is. And I said, because I saw on Twitter the other day, there's this talk of him possibly vice captain in England, and I said the day that he decided to play for England, he will captain England one day.
Yes,
I said that
without
to
doubt.
all my friends, and they said, "You're being stupid." I was like, "No, I promise you, he will captain England one day." I think it was shortly after that he started taking the armband at West Ham, and I was going, "I told you, it starts here." And yeah, I mean, he's just different, isn't he? Like,
Different class. Honestly, the boy's different class. He's just mustard.
it does make me jealous though, because I think he's a couple of months or maybe a year younger than me, and every now and again he'll do something. I'll go, oh, what am I doing? Let's
It's so
put that
true.
aside.
But I love
He's
I love this sort of his sort of boyhood enthusiasm. Do you know what I mean for the game? He has this love of football, and it just permeates every time he does an interview or anything. I just think he's great. I think he's great, not just for West Ham. I think he's great for England as well
oh, absolutely.
because they're so bland and boring. Yeah, like Harry Kane and God, people like this, Sterling, they're just boring. They're so boring at interviews. And he's got a personality about him. And personality now in the professional game is such a scarce commodity. That's why he stands out so much.
Yeah.
Because he's got this, and everyone loves. The commentators love him. You can tell, because he gives something back when they ask him a question. It's not just media training questions. Oh, we were unlucky. The boys did well. If he's lost, he is gutted. If
Yeah.
he's won, he's buzzing, just the same as we are, and that's why I love him. And I think he's going to be a fantastic marketing resource for us in terms of player recruitment, because he could well be England captain and still play for West Ham. He could well, and all these, like, you think like Mason, I mean Jesse as well. I mean, look at his relationship with him already. Mason Mount. All these players are going to be coming around looking up to him. So I think he's once Noble hands over the armband and the keys to the castle, the sky's the limit for that boy. Honestly,
absolutely.
Sky's the limit. So many games already for such a young lad. I mean, he scored. I mean, he's played I think he's played almost half as many games as Jesse Lingard now has. I think Jesse Lingard's played 200 and something professional games. He's played over 100 games already, or something ridiculous. He could be the next Bobby Moore.
Could be.
I said that really quietly.
Yeah.
But he could be, innit? Realistically, or Billy Bonds. He could easily play 600 games without blinking an eyelid, to be honest. Right, okay, we'll put Noble in, we'll put Rice. Who's next then, my friend?
Not a surprise. It's Souček.
Yes.
I absolutely love him. I think he's fantastic. As a player, he's brilliant. Again, came in straight away, made an impact. I like how he holds himself, how he is. I mean, was it when we went to City the other week, and there was that photo of him walking around their crests, like that level of respect to have as a player, mate. I really rate that. I just think he's fantastic, to be honest with you. So I had to put him in. I never get names and numbers on the back of my shirts. I did get Noble on the third kit this year, but that's because I won it from Betway, and the competition was to see who you'd have on the back. So I had to have Noble on the back, but I also thought it was going to be his last season, so I kind of wanted it on the back. But this year, I'm contemplating maybe getting another home shirt and getting Souček on the back, because he's just been that fantastic. I look at that shirt, I think Souček. So I feel like I maybe need to do that.
It's one of those things with them too, like with Souček and Kufal and Sufarov, and the way the Czech boys have just integrated themselves so quickly into West Ham culture. The way they, and obviously the whole thing with the ambassador as well. It's just this weird loving with the Czechs, and I absolutely love it. I just think it's incredible the way they sort of dive themselves in. I love the fact, and I say it all the time when we talk about Souček and Sufal. I love the way Sufal always takes a picture of him and Souček at every away ground he plays at on Instagram, almost like he's won a competition. It's like. I think it's brilliant, and I just love it. They just got such an enthusiasm for the game, and and that's what I love about his team now. They just, they're all so going to just give 100%. You can't criticize their work ethic ever. And I've got a suspicion. Well, not suspicion. I reckon it's going to be Souček Hammer of the Year and Sufal runner up, and the ambassador's going to go absolutely skits. he's going to absolutely go mental. Because like even now he's got like he had on Twitter today. You've seen his mug. It's
His
a
little
West
mug,
Ham mug, a Czech Republic mug. He's like, oh, I love it, and I love the way he cycles to the ground all the time and takes pictures outside. There's something about Czechs and taking pictures all the time because they love a picture. You know, we've had a good run with Czech players, obviously with Ludo and Thomas Repka and Radislav Kovac, maybe not so, but Kufal and Suchek, yeah, they've done the jobs. And right, so we've got Suchek, we've got Noble, we've got Rice. Who's next? Who's the next player?
I'm going to go with what could be a controversial one.
I like it.
I'm gonna chuck Fornals in there.
Do you know what? Totally agree.
Fornals, I was very, very excited when we signed him, purely because I'd heard of him before. And if I've heard of a player who plays in a different league to the Premier League and they're signing for us, I'm assuming it's because they're good. And so I was like, okay, all right, I like this. And he, to be fair, has impressed me more often than not.
Yeah.
I think, especially now at the moment, in the last game, I think we really noticed what we can be missing if he's not available.
Definitely.
And I think he's sort of not necessarily underrated, but I think he can fly under the radar for what he can actually bring to the table for us. And
I totally agree.
That's why I decided to chuck him in.
No, I totally agree. He's there's a obviously I've been fortunate enough to interview a lot of ex-players and stuff, and when you ask their 11s, they all seem to pick one or two players no one else picks, none of the fans pick, and it's it's like the water carrier, you know, sort of that sort of like the guy who does all the work, all the hard work, which doesn't get doesn't get written about. So, you know, it might be back in the day, I mean, Hayden Mullins or Jeff Pike or Pete Butler, all these like players who were just like, you know, just got the job done. And Fornals is in that bracket. I don't think there's any surprise. The last two games we've criticised the tempo of the team, and I think it's because both games hasn't had Fornals playing. You know, and obviously with Fornals not playing, Mark had to play against Man United, and there was all that thing. And he's just has this. He's the missing piece of the puzzle you don't need until you put all the pieces together. And there's that one piece missing, and he's that one. He is that glue. And again, Moyes has transformed him into who was a sort of tricky number 10, really, when we signed him from Villarreal, to more of a box-to-box, high-energy player. And he's a guy who always plays with a smile on his face. I love players who play with smiles on their faces. And he seems to be just loving life at West Ham as well now. So, and that's sort of like with them three at the moment, when they're all fit, Fornals, Rice and Suchek, that's your midfield, isn't it, really? And so, yeah, hopefully be back for Wolves. I imagine he's back for Wolves. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. We sort of need him at the moment. He's pretty needed at the moment. Right, okay, so who's next? Who's next then?
Next, I'll swap around the other side, and I've gone for Jared Bowen.
Nice.
Purely for, again, excitement since he's come in.
Yeah.
I know he's not played much recently, but that initial excitement of who he was going to be, and sort of how he holds himself and the goals he gets, I think he gets in for me. Again, I do have sort of a smaller pool to play with when it comes to players that I've seen or maybe not seen, as some of them are. But yeah, Jared Bowen, I think he's a quality player. Got a lot of potential going forwards, and he gets into my 11 basically.
Definitely, definitely, and I like players who can. Obviously, recently he's been playing sort of more central role as well, which seems to suit him as well. I mean, he played quite a lot in Hull when he was at Hull City. He had quite a good goal to game ratio playing up front. So, yeah, I just think he's sort of, you know, the fact is we've got a good squad now. So, you know, which is great for all of us really as fans, because we don't really necessarily know who we're going to play. We've got different options. It's not the same 11 all the time, but also for the players, they have to perform. If they don't perform, they're out next week. You know, and that's great. That's great for us as fans, because you know it means they have to put their all in. And so, Bowen, I think, you know, as I said, I think he's had a little bit different form recently, but you know, I started when he played the other day, he seemed to a bit more of the old Bowen was coming back. So obviously having a bit of a rest at the moment. They played everyone's played a lot of games, so it's a couple of weeks rest. I don't know what they actually do. If you're not in there, if you're not sort of in it, on international duty. I mean, what's Bowen doing? What's Noble doing? I don't know. I don't know. They can't go on holiday, can they?
No. I'd
Just
probably
twiddling
just
their
sleep
thumbs.
if it was me.
I probably would. That's like it's like me. I can't wait, because it's Easter holidays soon, so I've taken the week off to next week. So that's literally what I'm going to do. I'm going to just have lie-ins for like a week with my daughter, and I can't wait. I can't wait. What's this 4-day week this week, isn't it? Though. Good
Could
Friday.
be. I barely even know what day it is most of the time.
I know Wednesdays because that's the day I take the bins out and I just work backwards. Wednesdays and then kebab Fridays, and that's basically it. That's my week. That's my week sorted. Right, okay, so we'll put Jared Bowen in and last. Who's last? Who's the last player of this team?
I struggled with this one, I'll be honest, because I really wanted to put Antonio in. Because, and I've seen there's this debate on Twitter at the moment with, is he going to go down as a club legend? Is he not? For me, he is. He's almost certainly going to become the top goal scorer in the Premier League for us. He's scored important goals. He almost single-handedly kept us up last season, in my opinion. So I really did want to put him up there. But if I'm going on best, then sort of from who I've seen play, I kind of have to put Arnautovic because he's a better striker, sort of thing.
No,
so
I think you're right.
I've had to go with him. Do I like the guy? Not so much. Would I take him back? No. But for players that I've seen in that position for West Ham, I can't argue that he was brilliant when he on his day. Let's say because he was a bit temperamental, but so Arnie reluctantly takes.
But the best, but then again, I think the best type of. I mean, with that type of player, you have to be a bit of a bastard anyway, really, don't you? And I always remember that game against Burnley where he laughed in Ben Mee's face, having took the and and if I was Burnley fan, I'd be absolutely apoplectic. But I was cracking up being a West Ham fan. Do you know what I mean? And the fact is, he for the formation that David Moyes plays, he's the best player. He's the best striker, and doesn't matter. He's a snake, whatever. He's the best player for that role because he's got the skill and he's got the pace and he's got the strength. Antonio, bless him, has got the strength, got the pace, ain't got the skill, does he?
Was it Antonio that I saw? Somebody said that he's like the best, worst footballer they've ever seen.
That's a great shout. Yeah,
and it holds up to me.
It's true.
Mean, he is. It'd be like, I think he's brilliant. Some of the lads that play for my club, bless them, they're not the best at our level. Some of them are fantastic. I don't get into my own team. It's heartbreaking. I don't even make the bench. But some of them, they'll work, and they'll give everything. And are they brilliant footballers? No, but I love them. I think they're fantastic because of that work level. And Antonio's the same for me. Another one that I've met actually, Antonio.
Well, there we go. But he's not in.
He doesn't get in, unfortunately.
Right. Okie dokie. So that's I've only got a 4-4-2 on my thing, so that'll do. So yeah, we Barry's on the left. We're playing three in the middle. Don't worry about that. It's just that's the team. It's a strong team, very strong. As you said, there's plenty of that's how David Moyes would usually set up for a top six team, wouldn't he? Three central midfielders, Fornals, Bowen and Arnautovic. But yeah, no, good team. I like it. And I like the fact as well, Jake, that we've got lots of newer players in there because it's something I think that's why I interview people. I like to get people from all different, whether people have just started supporting them, whether people are new, have been doing 50 years, 40 years, whatever, because it's great to get new faces and stuff. Like, I think it's probably the first time Fornals has probably had a shout, I reckon.
Well, there you go.
Maybe.
Fornals, if you're watching, mate, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Feel free. Don't forget to sign it. Yeah, send Jake a signed shirt so we can get it raffled. That'd be great. I'm sure he'll be watching.
Fingers crossed.
They all do. What else are they going to do? Jake, man, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
It's been a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. Obviously, we've got the Just Giving site on the bottom as well. It's been going throughout, so make sure you can donate what you can to. And if you can't donate, times are tough. We know times are tough. anything Jake puts up, retweet, share, whatever. That's just as important, man. That's just as important to get the message out there and get more people knowing about this this great cause. But thank you very much, my friends, and obviously thank you to everyone for watching or listening. Whatever you've done, whatever platform, give it a like, give it a share. And from myself and from Jake, take care, everyone. Stay safe, wash those hands, get those jabs. Come on, you iron! Oh God, not on the microphone. Come on, you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Much love.